Well, pruning is one of the most important things that we do on a vineyard. This is how we determine how much fruit we actually put on the vine. And what we would look for, when we get ready to prune is a balanced vine. So we need to have enough fruit to make it profitable for us to make wine and to make quality wine, but we also want to protect the health of the vineyard. So if we put too much fruit on a vine, then we can overcrop it and it weakens the vine and we end up with poor wine quality. But if we go to the other extreme where we take and we reduce all the crop on there, then all we do is we get a vegetative growth in a vine, and that vegetative growth turns into vegetative flavor to make the wine. So instead of tasting a Cabernet that's going to have chocolate cherries, it's going to be like bell peppers, or it's going to be like turnips when you go to try that wine. So we want to make sure our wines are very balanced and very pleasant for us to drink, and we also want to make sure our vineyard is going to be here for years and years and years to come. So what we're looking at here is a unpruned vine. This is what we call a vertical shoot position vineyard. And what we're going to do is we want the clusters spaced out, so when these buds produce fruit, each one of our spurs that we'll leave will throw 2 shoots, and each shoot will have 2 clusters of fruit. So let me go through here and do a little bit of pruning.
Okay.
Some of this growth that grows on the bottom we want to remove. So what we're looking for is we want to have a good hands distance apart. Now we're looking for a bud to replace this. This one's too far away, so if I put 2 hands in here, what I'd like to have is another one in here. So I'll clip a couple of these out of here. We want to maintain the height of this vineyard, so what we don't want it to do is we don't want to just keep taking the top one. So we're going to take this lower one to back down to 2 buds. So now this is going to give me 4 clusters of fruit.
Wow.
So over time we train our guys how to do all this pruning, and they can prune a lot faster than I can because they prune a lot more vines in a day than I do. But in essence, that's what my guys are trained to do.
And which varietal is this that they're pruning today?
I believe this is Sangiovese. So this will go into the Italian winery.
Vienza.
So we've already pruned. Over here is the Barbera.
Okay.
And behind us, back in here, is the Dolcetto, the Montepulciano, and the Primitivo. So those are the varieties that we have planted. Those are all red varieties of the Italians. So what you're watching is making sure that he cleans up everything.
Okay.
The more buds that we leave, the more work we'll have later on. So the closer he cuts these off, I'm removing another bud right there. And same thing down in here. So it's a matter of cutting them very clean. And so what we're trying to do in here is we're trying to leave 2 buds. This is called a basal bud, and this is the first bud, and this is the second bud. Both of these 2 buds are much more fruitful than this bud. So when these start to come out next spring, the fruitfulness of this bud is determined about the time that the flowers have stopped. So the crop for the following year is determined on this year's growth very, very early in the year. So when we look at a vineyard, there's a lot more going on than really meets the eye the first time you look at a vineyard.